and kisses long sticky. You make my joy stick hard like a construction bricky. First time we met, the energy was so tight, like looking in the eyes of a love from another life. I'm kind of feeling that you felt the way I felt, but hey, what can we say? These were the cards we were dealt. I'm down for a game of spades. If you're feeling what I'm feeling, you bring hearts, I bring diamonds. I don't give a damn. Let's try it this way. Butt naked, Bob slid down a mountain, making our great escape. You're tender but sweet to the taste, decked out in lace. Brother Rob, butt naked, wearing a Batman cape. This was the Olympics, we be going the fastest. Sweat and steam glistening from both of our asses. Our bodies together make this rhythmic clap, like my cape in the wind going flap, 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 flap. To infinity and beyond. Shazam! We flew past some skiers, they was all like, damn! All they saw was a sweaty black flash. Anyway, that's the way I saw us making love. What's up? You alright with that?
That boy Bear's cooking again. I mean, the one they don't like. I'm the one that they don't like. We don't fuck shit, just suck it all night. Got some gas on my mind. Oh, nobody see when I slide. Eat on that pussy, it's mine. Beat on that pussy like Ike. Hit that bitch like she mine. Then I tell her take a hike. Turn me right on, I'm gone. I just want to enjoy the moment, cause baby, I probably won't be here long. Hey, she loving the way that they smell. Don't your ass out, I knock her low. Don't wanna wait on the mail. Jump on the road and pick up the load. Know I'm a fool in the kitchen, I give it to bro, he a fool with them balls. You better watch when you steppin', these Valentino Snickers cost me some extra. Yeah, I'm with a white chick with some big titties like she Karma Electric. I'm with a mixed chick with a big booty, she ain't even from Texas. I spent a little bit of time in this water, so I'm never ducking the test. You know I smile every day cause I'm coming out swinging from under the pressure. You know I smile every day cause I'm winning and my city want me to feel. I really lost it all in the storm, I know that you probably can tell. Gotta be honest, my part is too large, I don't wanna ask her for help. Yeah, I know these niggas don't like me, probably wanna take my life. Yeah, might get a job as a rep, oh, I got way too many strikes. Yeah, pop out like a thief in the night, yeah, chopper come and take a life. I might turn to a wolf for the night. I'm the one that they don't like, we don't fuck, she just suck it all night. Got some get back on my mind. Oh, nobody see when I slide. Eat on that pussy, it's mine. Beat on that pussy like Ike. Treat that little bitch like she mine. Then I tell her take a hike. Tell me right on, I'm gone. I just wanna enjoy the moment, cause baby, I probably won't be here long. Hey, she loving the way that they smell. Doja ass out, I knock her low. Don't wanna wait on the mail. Jump on the road and pick up the low. Know I'm a fool in the kitchen, I give it the ball, he a fool with them balls. I feel like Trey with the chopper, I'm making a beat and I'm turning on these hoes. Feeling like Kobe, I faked and I go. Pour some drinks, take a sip and I'm gone. I gotta carry these niggas. These niggas know I got aim and know I do not need to switch on the bag of these pistols. Heard on like I put a wig on this bitch when I shoot it, cause I'm finna let off a stenches. The homie quit playing, keep my name out your mentions. That nigga know some karate, hop out with the chopper, cause that's how they bitches be kicking. Baby, I just want your body, I jump on that box, I feel like Roderick. We got them both for the low, and we got deals on this side of zips. Live this life for real, got two girlfriends, that's that poly shit. They knowing I'm the hardest, but I still don't get acknowledgement. I'ma still give them what they want. Hit up the hit, I'ma give them all, and I still put my heart up in every song. Gotta keep running and finish strong. Gorilla glue, I'm sticking to the code. Drop to my knees, ask the Lord to help me. I follow your lead, I'm gonna be your chess piece. I took this ride, you know I'm always ready for war again. I'm the one that they don't like. We don't fuck, she just suck it all night. Got some get back on my mind. Oh, nobody see when I slide. Eat on that pussy, it's mine. Beat on that pussy like Ike. Treat that bitch like she mine. Then I tell her take a hike. Treat me right on, I'm gone. I just wanna enjoy the moment, cause baby, I probably won't be here long. Hey, she loving the way that they smell. Doja ass out, I knock her low. Don't wanna wait on the mail. Jump on the road and pick up the low. Know I'm a fool in the kitchen, I give it to bro, he a fool with them balls.
Hey, that boy Bash cooking again.
It's freezing out here on the block, cause the game's cold. But I ain't never seen a hood I can't go. Out here, but it's hot, cause the game's cold. But I ain't never seen a hood I can't go. Freezing out here, but it's hot, cause the game's cold. But I ain't never seen a hood I can't go. Freezing out here on the block, cause the game's cold. But I ain't never seen a hood I can't go. From the 1-4 down in B-Town with the Jersey on the block. I was out ducking them haters, messing up smoking them rocks. But I was still getting my paper, hustlers giving me props. I know that I live and got favor, I'm lucky I never got shot. From the KC to the MO, know some real boys and they pimp hoes. Seal joy and they will go, kill joy in a minute, bro. Destroyed in the mental, all my D-boys in the central. Rejoice in the spiritual, D-voice when I spit at you. Ripper been chasing that paper, you haters, you know you been knowing my name. 20 plus years I've been throwing that flame, now you must recognize that I got game. Ripper's been facing his haters and making them see that it's bringing that pain. Now that they see that I'm deep in the game, I gotta get me a piece of this chain. There's no hood that I can't go, but I still getting that paint though. Nowadays I'm drug free, but I still let that case smoke. Got killers all on my payroll, cause Ripper done twisted the label. I know that my life is a fable, I'm living it like it's on cable. It's freezing out here on the block, cause the game's cold. But I ain't never seen a hood I can't go. Out here, but it's hot, cause the game's cold. But I ain't never seen a hood I can't go. Out here, but it's hot, cause the game's cold. But I ain't never seen a hood I can't go. Out here on the block, cause the game's cold. But I ain't never seen a hood I can't go. From the game to the cocaine, I'm the king of the hill, one more propane. Spit fire, I throw flames. Get high, I blow dang. Kryptonite for show, man. Not a piece of the pie, I want the whole thing. Dallas, Texas, we show swing. 7-5 rolling 4 lane. I have stepped in the rain, stepped in the pain from living the rain. Feeling the pain from sniffing cocaine, pimping them chains and gripping them things. Running from whistling them chains, like them crackers who whipping them things. But dragons be hitting their veins, no matter the danger it brings. It's freezing out here on the block, cause the game's cold. But I ain't never seen a hood I can't go. Out here, but it's hot, cause the game's cold. But I ain't never seen a hood I can't go.
New money ENT, my fault, hip-hop fraternity. Stayed in my bag, I lost a few of my brothers, don't wanna do it again. Ran up the racks, then I fell out with that money, but watch how I do it again. She told me she love me, but she be out there fucking, can't let her use me again. They know I'm on point, and I shoot that like a movie, I bet he won't do it again. Pull up in the foreign, when I pull off, drop the roof, and I had blew it away. These niggas is boring, fan base be the proof, you shouldn't make music again. Don't want what I'm doing, made it straight out Illinois, I gotta make me some noise. Don't want what I'm doing, take the dick out of activities, I feel like I'm making a porn. I'm keeping it P, my baby spitting the P, like she was drinking some urine. I'm keeping it G, and I ride around with the heat. Cremate him, not here in the earth. That shit why I eat. My mama, she pray for my speech. My daddy say, live it, you learn. They slander my name, still they can't blemish my image. When will you little nigga learn? Yeah, I'm searching for blood, I'm sitting back waiting my turn. Yeah, really got it out the mud, really had to put in the work. 4 bitches that's quadruple booties, it's feeling like heaven on earth. Yeah, I damn near ain't even get to hit him, cause I fell asleep out the serve. Think I got it, my daddy a preach. Boy, if you scared, go to church. Yeah, why would you say give a fuck if you drippin', little nigga, we hit up your merch. I'm a Marine, it's M16, it came with a 3-round burst. I don't give a fuck about no little bit of money, we put in the loyalty first. Stayed in my bag, I lost a few of my brothers, don't wanna do it again. Ran up the racks, then I fell out with that money, but watch how I do it again. She told me she love me, but she be out there fucking, can't let her use me again. They know I'm on point, and I shoot that like a movie, I bet he won't do it again. Pull up in the foreign, when I pull off, drop the roof, and I had blew it away. These niggas is boring, fan base be the proof, you shouldn't make music again. Don't want what I'm doing, made it straight out Illinois, I gotta make me some noise. Don't want what I'm doing, take the dick out of activities, I feel like I'm making a porn. Pull up, I'm hurting, they feeling for show, I just wanna ball up a rose. Granny, I feel you whenever I'm cooking for shows, still can't believe that you gone. Not one of them, I'm him, came through the door just to boast, I'm not being humble no more. Don't want you to know, you play with my top and you gone, I promise it when I be low. Whole nother level, hollow tips came on the bullets, but they all gon' shoot all together. It really is Steffa, if you won't dance with the devil, I'm pulling a bust in your belly. I lost a few of my brothers, I wish it was something that could help them. When I ask for help with that money, they act like they ain't wanna help me. Stayed in my bag, I lost a few of my brothers, don't wanna do it again. Ran up the racks, then I fell out with that money, but watch how I do it again. She told me she love me, but she be out there fucking, can't let her use me again. They know I'm on point, and I shoot that like a movie, I bet he won't do it again. Pull up in the foreign, when I pull off, drop the roof, and I had blew it away. These niggas is you shouldn't make music again. Don't want what I'm doing. Made it straight out Illinois. I gotta make me some noise. Don't want what I'm doing. Take the dick out of activities. I feel like I'm making them porn.
Big Bash, nigga, you know what the fuck going on? What I'm doing? Hey, that boy Bash cooking again. KP on the couch, nigga. New Money ENT. My phone. Hip hop fraternity.
Hey, yo, Cash, you did it with this one.
All praise to the Most High Creator. And upon this Mother Earth, we gotta bring back the love, y'all. We gotta bring back the peace. Bring back some unity.
No more crying. We gotta bring back the love. We gotta bring back the peace. We gotta clean up our streets. No more crying. We gotta bring back the love. We gotta bring back the peace. We gotta clean up our streets.
Let's stop the violence, please. Let's end the killings, please. So the children be at ease in these city streets. Detroit a lovely town. Some devils getting down. Police corruption while the prosecutors all around. But that's a different story, and it's another time. The murders of my people weigh heavy on my mind. I'm missing children gone. Angels up in that zone. Another shooting at a school. Man, this shit is wrong. We sending love to Sudan over in Africa. Yes, it's a war-torn country. Ain't no laughing, bruh. Let's get that love back. Let's let our peace stack. Let's take a moment and not worry about no stacking racks. Cause it's a lot of pain moving through the earth. Why? So keep faith in yourself and the Most High. Because life on this earth is just a testimony. That's why we gotta keep it 100. It's too many
No more
phonies.
crying. We gotta bring back the love. We gotta bring back the peace. We gotta clean up our streets. No more crying. We gotta bring back the love. We gotta bring back the peace. We gotta clean up our streets.
Let's bring it back like when the street lights would guide us home and focus on this world around us, not the one inside the phone. And not a stone I throw, cause bro, my house is glass, cracked and dirty. Chasing bags, I doubled down and woke up feeling half as worthy. The path is curvy, so the devil lurks at every turn. Ain't preaching, but history repeats itself unless we learn. The earth is burning faster than it's turning. That's how it seems. Imagine all the death that's manifested from a coward's dream. Forgave myself for yesterday, and you can do the same. Cause what you think about, you bring about. So look into your brain, tap inside your spirit, you can hear it speaking truth and light. Divine purpose is the value of a human life. Cause if you really wanna bang and slide, reject the evil. Big steppers only grab that weapon to protect the people. Cause every city got a system and no love is felt. And we can't love each other till we learn to love ourselves.
No more crying. We gotta bring back the love. We gotta bring back the peace. We gotta clean up our streets. No more crying. We gotta bring back the love. We gotta bring back the peace. We gotta clean up our streets. Have you got your army? Have you got your guns?
This is a state of emergency. This is a state of emergency. Black girls missing. Every day got the souls that are pairing straight up twisted. Black girls missing. Every day got police acting like they're straight up listening. Black girls missing. Every day got the souls of the parents straight up twisted. Black girls missing. Every day got police acting like they're straight up listening. Spiritual cancer. Looking for answers, making it all the disaster. Nobody knows how many people you know that are turning the foes. Children be missing here, children be missing there, and it's really a scare. Police be acting foul, assuming the kids in the streets and they're being wild. And what is a runaway? That's the laziest cop in the desk that'll always get paid as the future gets kidnapped. What's the being degraded, becoming the devil's sick slave? Nobody understands the pain and the sorrow that's always standing at hand. Families stay full of pain, families stay full of pain as they yell at your name, hoping and praying. Looking for solace as they all shoot through the shame. Seeing the news vans, all the reporters with microphones, cameras in hands. When will it all end? The murderous scenes, the children that's strung on lean. We took the very zone, cause missing and missing and missing, we need them back home.
There's so many missing people of color in the U.S. African Americans remain missing 4 times longer than white Americans. That number is alarming.
Girl, I miss your smile. Ain't seen it in a while. I don't laugh, I just cry. Try to find a reason why. They done took my blood, I'm dry. And I pray at night to the Lord. Yeah, I watch the news and I got the blues, cause I don't see my story.
Have you got your Have you got your
Black girls missing. Every day got the souls of the parents straight up twisted. Black girls missing. Every day got police acting like they're straight up listening. Black girls missing.
When a black person is in distress, missing, it's not a big deal to law enforcement because they don't think we have much to lose.
This one always gets me just remembering when she was a little girl.
Iceberg. They sleep, but we still outside. We don't trust the police, so we don't speak it.
What's up, man? Salute. Welcome back to another great episode of Just a Conversation with your favorite Pharaoh, godson of Pharaoh, representing Divine Family and Nostalgic Radio. And today, we got a very, very special guest on this very, very special Tuesday. The brother out of California, the farmer, the king farmer. Brother is a part of an organizational structure called Oasis Paradise, or Paradise Oasis, that deals with farming and teaching our Asiatic people the elements of gardening, irrigation, planting, harvesting and things of this nature out in California. And I'm happy to have the brother on. It's been a minute. So let's get the brother on. Introducing Brother Chef I Muhammad Jr.
Peace. How you doing today, God?
Peace to the God, man. Salute. Assalamu alaikum to you, my brother.
Thanks a lot. Yes, sir.
Tell them what you about. Where you from, and what's the pathway to get where you at now?
Man, can we start off with a quick prayer real quick, if you don't mind?
Not a problem, King. Let's do it.
Okay, yes, sir. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alaihim ghayril maghdubi alaihim wala dallin. O Allah, we beseech your help and ask your mercy. We believe in you and trust in you for all that we need. We are helpers in your cause, and with your apostle, please grant to us success. Thank you, Allah. We cannot thank you enough. Ameen.
Amen.
Um, I'm really just your brother. I'm humble. I'm out here doing the best that I can with what I got. I'm a
Amen.
chef. I work a regular job, and then on my time off, I try to spend that, putting my hands in some dirt or helping out the community the best that I can.
Okay.
My brother is actually one who started the Oasis firm,
Okay.
Oasis.build, and he's the one who owns the land that I'm currently the agricultural liaison for. It's about
Okay.
200 acres on the border of Mexico down in San Diego, and
Oh, okay.
he's a very busy man, so he gave me the opportunity. He was like, "Man, come up with something that we could do with that." And I got a laundry list of ideas, but we working them out
Right.
little by little. My family, we just we working together right now to put together a restaurant idea we came up with, and
Mm-hmm.
the plan is to grow that business into something where we can serve food from the land and all of that.
Okay. Now that's one, man. Salute to that. I see you also. Are you active Nation of Islam member, or are you just born into the Nation of Islam family? Or how how did you become to be Muhammad, sir?
Yes, sir. I am a card-carrying member of the Nation of Islam.
Okay,
I'm a student of life. You know, Islam is a way of life, but I'm a
true.
member of the Nation of Islam. I support any cause that's out there to help our people. You know, ain't nobody else helping
Amen.
them, so we got to do it.
They, facts. I totally agree with that. In the aspect of nation building, and I'm very familiar with the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad,
All praise to
Wallace
Allah.
D.
Yes,
Farr
sir.
Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan, all the way back to Minister Malcolm X and all the way down the line. Um, in that aspect, and then let me ask you this: did you grow up in this, or did you become a member after you were grown or a teenager? How did this element develop in your life of being a member of the NOI?
I think my story is very similar to a lot of people. I hear, all the time people who started on the path, but they didn't really understand the path that they was on. So they went out and explored. And then eventually, you come back to where you started at. And I think that's what the best way to describe my life. I started out in the Nation of Islam. I was born and raised, both parents. And then, in
Okay,
my teens, I did my thing. I wilded out. I ended up going to Clark Atlanta University. I studied there for a while, and while I was there, I met people from all walks of life, and I tried out different faiths. I tried out different things, and I got an understanding of life. And my philosophy now
okay,
is, uh, all of the faiths have something in them that's great. All of the faiths have something in them that you might not agree with, but
hmm,
all of it is based on your level of understanding. And if a faith created by somebody else allows you to walk better on this path and do the best you can to be able to help humanity, I feel like that's the faith that you should just stick with if it's the one you know the most about. I think that's the conclusion a
oh,
lot of people come to.
okay. I totally understand that. If that path fits you, so be it.
Yes,
If it
sir.
don't, you learn what you learn from it and move on.
Yes, sir.
I totally agree with that. Yes, sir. Now, y'all are based in California.
Yes,
You
sir.
say
We
San
are
Diego?
Los Angeles, California, and we got property in San Diego or land in San Diego, and we got land in Chicago as well.
Oh, okay. All is well. All is well. That's what's up.
Yes, sir.
Now, the farming. How do you? I'm saying as you, as being a teacher, and and everything that you do, you as an individual leader.
Hmm.
How do you bring the element of agriculture back? Because we already had it.
Yes,
Now
sir.
and I agree with you on the aspect of our people getting it back. How do you get the nation to see the benefits of agriculture, farming, et cetera, in an economic system that we in right now?
I mean, like you said, we already have it. We never lost it. It's just some of us have become a little blind to what's important. So
Okay.
to me, it's a matter of you got to start with the youth, the children, the next generation, and then B,
Okay.
you have to create a system that makes it easily duplicatable and beneficial to other people. And so that's what we're working on.
Okay.
I wouldn't say we got it. We're working on that system.
Okay. So that's the beginning of the Oasis and the Paradise Farms and stuff like that.
The entire paradigm is based on it got to be started from the ground up.
Facts. Totally agree with that. How do you get the people to be excited? Because it's when you think about farming, you think about agriculture. We always revert back to the scenes in the movies we see. The overall tractor. All the hay baling and stuff like that. When actually, it's totally not like that.
No, I mean, to me, it's like everybody's not gonna see it, and I don't expect everybody to see it.
Okay.
I think it's like, how they
Okay.
say, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." It was like the realization
Right.
that if we're not in charge of our own food, we're allowing somebody else to feed us. They can feed us what they want to and control our actions as a result.
Mm.
Like I know a lot of people who are military minded and they think that the war is gonna be physical and that we're gonna have to be out here fighting. And even if that's your belief, even if that's the aspect that you come from, I mean the direction you come from, how you gonna
Hmm.
feed that army that you're trying to build? You got to be able to feed that
Mm.
army.
Exactly.
If your mentality is the understanding that the war is only partial physical, it's mostly spiritual, you know, understanding how to control where your food comes
Excuse
from
me.
has great reverberation in, your spirit and your energy and how you move about in the world. So from every aspect, once you understand how life works, you're gonna
Hmm.
eventually go to the soil. You gotta eventually start growing your own food.
Mm. Okay. I like how you said that. You eventually got to go back to the soil. So that that you just dropped a paradigm gem right there, because the soul above is soul below. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I like that. I like that deep wisdom you just spit right there, bro. Now break down briefly the elements of farming for the people that may not know what the heck we talking about here.
When you say the elements of farming, that can go in a lot of different directions. The one that immediately comes to mind is um, cultivating your soil
Okay.
and taking care of the earth first, because that's the first step. If your dirt ain't right, you're not gonna get nothing to grow out of it. So
Right.
you gotta learn how to go back to the indigenous practices and using the foods that we already are consuming and throwing away and turning them into compost or turning them into worm food and using that to revitalize and bring your soil back to life.
So it's okay. So basically, what you're saying, that's what mulch is. Would that be what mulch and
Mo-
manure
well,
and
mo-
all that
mo-
is?
mulch is what you use to cover the soil so that A, when you water your soil, your water is not evaporating back into the air, and then B,
Hmm.
the sun is not beaming down directly onto your soil and drying your soil out.
Okay. 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 Now, I'm always try to slide in some spiritualism up in there.
Let's get
What
it.
you just said, as far as the sun breaking down the soil and drying it up, et cetera, can you bring a spiritual lesson to that? What you just said about the soil and keeping it cultivated and everything?
I mean, it's like, I don't want to get too crazy, too deep, but it's like we all have this opinion that, the devil is the enemy of God or the devil is somehow a bad thing. But when you really think about it, the devil is here to help us experience the fire that cultivates the God within us. Whenever you do
Okay.
something in this life, there's always going to be an
Hmm.
equal and opposite reaction. And as an infant, we have this like, this willingness to explore and understand, and that causes us to get into a lot of situations that might not be so healthy for us. And
Okay.
from the perspective of the infant, when you see a stove and you see your parents paying so much attention to the stove, you want to touch the stove. You touch that stove and you're gonna burn your finger. So the fire is hot.
Right.
To that infant, the fire is the devil. The stove is the devil. The stove is the enemy. But that's just a
Hmm.
stove. You just use it the way you need to use it. So the way I look at it is like, the sun is gonna continue to do its thing, and the plants need that. The soil needs that.
Right.
But when you're trying to do something very specific, you need to be able to cover the soil so that the sun gives what you want it to. Like it gives the energy straight to the plants and doesn't take the energy out of the soil.
Mm. Got you. So basically, on a spiritual level, it's use what you need in the lessons that you learn to develop, and what you don't use or what you don't need, which is not conducive to your spiritual development, then just cast it to the side. Just like when you uprooting weeds up out the garden or the
I
grass
mean,
or
even
something.
even even the weeds serve a purpose. The weeds are good cover crop. They allow the soil to, they act the same way the mulch does and allow the soil to regenerate without being exposed to the sun.
Okay. Nah, I just learned that something new. I didn't know that. So weeds are necessary for the cultivation of a garden and or area that you're growing something in.
God don't do nothing without a purpose, bro. Everything got a purpose. That's what makes it such a beautiful process.
Okay. That's damn. That's some deep shit. That's. Excuse me. Excuse my language, bro, because I know y'all don't
You
demonstrate
ain't
any
gotta. I
cussing
don't gotta
thing.
excuse your language, bro. It's baby language. I
It,
use it all the time. You good?
okay. So basically, So why do they tell us to get the weeds up out of the stuff then?
It depends
Because
on
they
who
you
you talk about when you say they, because we all listen to different opinions and voices,
true
and
to that.
not all of them are good for you. Not all of them know what they're
No,
talking about.
no, I agree with that too. Now, when I say they, I mean like particular gardeners. You know, the people we see in Lowe's and Home Depot when you pull up on them and ask them about gardening questions and stuff like that.
I mean,
That's what I mean.
they sell life and death even in Home Depot. They got poisons in there, and they got seeds in there.
That's true. True to that. True to that. They definitely do that. Definitely do that for sure. Um, I grew up. Not my. I was raised by my great aunt. She come from Alabama. She always had a garden. Always. I'm talking about tomatoes on the fence, going up the vine, green, red peppers, cabbage, lettuce, and stuff like that. So when I got old enough to get out there with her, tear the dirt up, flip it over and stuff like that, chop it down, and like you said, put the necessary ingredients and plant the plants, the water, and the food and stuff. She always made sure that she got all the weeds
I mean,
out of the
like
garden.
I
And
said, it depends on. It's all about what you're trying to do. The weeds are going to be
oh, okay.
there to do their job, and if they're getting in the
Hmm.
way of your job, pull them up. I pull the weeds
Pull
up
them
too
up.
if I'm growing stuff, and then sometimes I let the weeds grow around it to give that
Yeah.
that surface more more allow it to keep the water. It just depends
So
on what you're trying
basically,
to do.
it
A
depends on
lot of
what you're
people,
growing. Okay.
yeah, a lot of people have this idea of they want to keep their farm or their garden manicured and looking pretty. And so
Mm,
if that's your goal, then yeah, you can pull the weeds up. But that
hmm.
doesn't have to be. That's not the only way to do gardening.
Okay.
Me me when I started the process or started down this road towards gardening, it was a conversation I had, and they were talking about how the I think it's the Brazilian rainforest
Yeah.
was completely man made. Those are all like it's like 80% edible vegetation in there. And the way it grows and propagates so well is because it's not really touched by man. It's started by man, but they allow it to just
Mm.
naturally do its thing. And
Naturally
so
do its thing,
that's my
right?
philosophy when it comes to growing food. Like I allow the nature to take over after I put my intention in.
Oh, okay. Mm. That's some deep wisdom there too. Okay. So that's basically all that same thing in akin to what you take in as far as what you listening to, what you reading, and things of this nature. Because that also is like basically seeds and plants that you putting in your mind and your mentality.
And then
So,
peep this. What really is a weed, right? Like some of the things that we call weeds have a lot of natural
mm,
beneficial properties to them. They're healing things, and we because they grow prevalently and they're not exactly what we intended to grow. We call them weeds, but the concept is backwards.
okay. Give us a little more expoundation on that.
I got dandelion roots growing all in my backyard, and I like the way they look. I leave them alone,
Okay.
The dandelion roots,
Now,
they're called a weed, but they you can make a tea out of them. You can do a lot of things. You can make different things out of them. It's you can what you call it. You can brew a potus out of some of the parts of it.
okay.
Even the
So
root
that's
has
like a
benefits.
tea. Exactly. Now, as far as being a gardener, do you study certain plants and vegetables, or do you just go on what you? Is it by sight or is it by study or both?
I mean, it's a lot of different things. Like the reason why it's so exciting to me is because there's so many people that are into it that can help you out, and most of the people that are into it are excited about it. So if you see somebody growing something on their page, you hit them up in their DM. They're the fastest ones to hit you back. Like
Hmm.
they want to talk about it. It's a beautiful thing. I got a lot of people I talk to if I have questions or anything like that.
Hmm. Okay. So basically, it's not as unknown as we think it is. Then the
I live.
aspect of
I
agriculture.
Not at all. I live in the hood. You go next door. The lady next door to me got avocado tree and a banana tree. The lady next to her got pomegranates growing. Got like it's people all over.
Hmm.
People over here got chickens and stuff. Like people. people are into farming. It's just it looks different in the city.
Gotcha. Okay. I know here in Michigan, they're like in Detroit and stuff, they got a program, the city got a program to what they call it, to beautify the city, right? So
Hmm.
they going around, they planting trees, certain shrubs and bushes and stuff. But they also got little neighborhood gardens. You know what I'm saying, putting them down and putting around in certain areas and too, which is good because like you say, the children can come to one of these little gardens and while they're planting and stuff like that, learn certain things about agriculture, planting, the right time, and all that other stuff. 'Cause my auntie, she used to plant according to astrology and astronomy.
Hmm.
I know, I'm sure you're familiar with that one.
Well, you definitely got to plan according to the season. You just gotta when you want to plant something, you got to do a little bit of research to figure out what it is you want to plant, what it needs as far as time of year, the season, and all of that. California is
Right.
actually unique because you can grow a lot of different things out here at different times, but you still, I
Hmm.
mean, for the best results, you still want to grow according to the season.
Okay. Got you. Cause even though y'all don't get snow, it still get cold in the winter season.
Yeah,
Got you. All right. Anything else you would like to expound as far as the farm and the agricultural aspect
I'm
that
going
you
with
would
the
like to
flow, bro.
teach the
Whatever
masses?
questions you got, that's what I'm gonna answer.
Oh no, no. See, that's why this is just a conversation, bro. We ain't finna hit you with a bunch of questions. Now I
Okay,
did hit you up with a few in the beginning, but
okay.
we flow with the convo. So that's what I say. Anything else you might want to add in, as far as with the agriculture, what the lessons and the knowledge that you're gathering from the NOI, what they might have to say about agriculture and things of this nature that the masses may not know about.
Well, I would say to make gardening really fun, try to find the easiest things to grow in your area. Try to find the things that
Okay.
you eat the most of, or you eat prevalently, and then go
Okay.
from there. My first garden was a tomato garden, and I was playing around, and I put like 30 tomato trees, and I didn't realize how big tomato plants get and all of that. By the time it was all said and done, I couldn't even walk in my backyard. It was wall
Oh,
to
it was
wall bushes
banging
of
like that,
tomatoes, and
right?
they're crazy.
Okay, okay. No, yeah, my auntie, she grew them tomatoes for sure. Her younger brother, my great uncle Henry,
Hmm.
he green tomatoes. He'd come right out there and snatch one up off the brine, chop that joint up, throw it in some batter, throw it on the fryer. You know what I'm saying? And that was his meal for the day.
I mean,
So
a good tomato, I'll eat it like an apple. If it's nice and thick and juicy and it ain't like super hard, no, I like tomatoes.
yeah. Now my granddaddy did that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Now when he went to his garden, he just grabbed a tomato. Yeah, he did that. Them big
Yeah,
old red. Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely understand that aspect.
I
Now
like. I'm
let's.
a chef too, so I like to. When I had a bunch of them, what I used to do is I would roast them. I would put them in the oven, roast them for like 20, 30 minutes, and then put them on
Yeah.
medium for another 20, 30 minutes. That's 350. And then I would just blend them up and have me a tomato
Hmm.
base for whatever I needed to do. It's like having
Okay.
tomato paste on hand. Like
Right.
you could put it in a
And
plastic baggie once it cools down and freeze it up, and then you could bring it back out when you need it. But it's a lot you could do with it.
right. That's fact. And manufacture your own sauce.
Spaghetti sauce, pizza sauce, all of that.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Now that's what I was going to touch on next. You being a chef. Now, how long have that you been cooking all your life, or when did
Man,
your
my
love?
love affair with food started when I was in my mom's. She had me in the car seat sitting on the counter while she cooked dinner, and then uh, my father cooked as well. He had a couple specialties that he used to cook, and it was always such an event when he cooked. But he was a good cook too. He was
Okay,
from the South, so both
okay,
of them, both of them kind of like sparked this interest in me. And then my father and mother had an issue when I was like 10 or 11. Sorry about that. I'm in the
hmm.
hood, like I said. Um,
No, it's cool.
when I was about 10 or 11, my father and my mom kind of split. So it
Okay.
rested on my shoulders to kind of like step up and help out. So
Hmm.
I ended up, I didn't know I could cook, but I ended up going in the kitchen and just start putting stuff together. We used to make quesadillas out of cream cheese and salsa. Like, we would just we would freak it. Whatever we had, an
Go it in,
avocado tree
right.
in the back, so we had plenty of avocado sandwiches. And
Right.
from there, I ended up getting my first job in a restaurant, just helping sweep up and serve customers and whatnot when I was around 15. And then I helped my mom. She used to do like these bake sales, and she would have like at our mosque, she would have like dinners, and like I would just be in there chopping up stuff or whatever. And when I my mom told me all my life I was going to be a doctor. And so when I went to college, I went to college with this intention to be a doctor. As soon as I got to college, I
Okay.
realized, everybody in here had a leg up on me. My education system in South Central Los Angeles was not what they had, and they all understood the what you call it, the periodic table back and
The
forth, and
period.
I had
Right.
no inkling. I knew H2O. I knew a couple of them. I was
Right.
like, I don't know how I'm supposed to be a doctor with this level of information. And then full circle, now I consider myself a healer. But when I got out of college, um, I just fell into cooking. Meanwhile, all while I'm
Okay.
in college, I'm me and the chef behind the cafeteria. We joking and talking, and he telling me he want to get me back there because he just sees my interest in food. I gave him a recipe for my eggplant parmesan, and he was like, "Man, I tried that. That was fire." And so me and him would just chop it up on a daily basis. And he kept trying to tell me I need to get into the culinary program. In my mind, at 17, I'm like, nah, I'm gonna be a doctor, even though I wasn't excelling at all in that arena. Um, two years later, I come back to California, and I'm out wilding in the streets with my friends, and we just cutting up, and it ain't working out. And mom's makes me move
Right.
back in with her reluctantly, and I end up going to culinary school. And she told me I also had to have a job, so I'm 5 in the morning. I'm going to school from 6 to noon. Then 6 to noon. Then noon. I'm catching the bus to my job where I got to start at 1 o'clock, an hour away,
Right.
and that's my schedule for like almost like a year and a half and some change. Um, but it was culinary school. That was the class I ended up taking, and I enjoyed it, and it,
It
it
paid
set me
out.
down the path towards understanding food better than I had understood it. So I just I took that and ran with it.
Okay. That's
And now
what's up. Nah.
I work for Amtrak. I've been working for Amtrak for the last 8 years. I cook on a train.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. That's why you were saying, okay, gotcha. I
Hmm.
remember you saying that. Now, how does that job? Is it stressful? Is it balanced? How is it? Because I know that's kind of adventurous per se to be on a
It,
train
the
cooking.
concept of it is adventurous for sure. I, I really don't like to complain about things because I'm so blessed, and life is so abundant, but it has its
It
downsides
has
to
its
it.
drawbacks.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
I love being needed and being working and learning and things like that. But also I like being at home with my family. I like being able to be near my
Right.
garden and near my wife and all of that. So
Right.
6 days away
Amen.
from home is difficult.
Right. Gotcha. I definitely understand that. I definitely understand that. And mad salute to you, King, for being able to wear all those crowns. You see what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Be a influence and a guide for the masses. Now, book one and book two, How to Eat the List by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. What's your full take on that? On either one of those manuscripts? Because I'm sure you done read both of them.
Yes, sir. So Elijah Muhammad was a very wise man.
True
Was
in that.
raised on a farm, so he kind of understood agriculture. And in his adolescence and growing up, he just came to realize how necessary it was for us to understand how to take care of ourselves, and that starts with our diet. A lot of people look at how to eat to live from the perspective of this world, which is what it is we should be eating, but the perspective that I got from it was more about what we should not be eating. And so for
Okay.
me, when I read How to Eat to Live, what I took away from it was the how to eat to live is not necessarily what things I should be eating. It's a method for controlling my diet, meaning the best way to eat to live is fasting. The best way to
Right.
eat to live is not, 1, 2, and 3 meals a day that they're talking about. The best way is sustaining on the amount of food that you can tolerate. So he starts us off saying that eating 1 meal a day is the best way, 1 meal every 24 hours, and then it goes into 1 meal every 72 hours. Once I mean one meal every 48 hours. Once you can maintain at 24, you move on to 48, and then once you can
48.
maintain at
Right.
48, you move on to 72. So 1 meal every 3 days, and that
Right.
diet essentially, just from a logical perspective, that diet is the kind of diet that a man on a mission would take on. So when I think about how the prophets were able to live 1,000 years, I think that's how they did it. They had this impeccable diet that allowed them to never get sick, and that comes from not from what they put in their mouth so much as how much of it they ate. If you think about the fact that your body starts to build up ketones if you don't eat for 24 hours, and then the longer you go on that fast, the longer you withhold food from your body, the more ketones, which is like stem cells, the more regenerative properties your body has, and it allows you to heal from all the things in the world. And you think about today, how many things in this world are trying to take us out, from the air quality, the lack of sleep and light pollution. Not like holding back how much you eat, it allows your body to heal from that kind of stuff. And that's what I got from How to Eat to Live, honestly.
Wow. No, I never, bro. I done read both the books 3 or 4 times over in my lifetime. What you just said, I heard another brother say that before, but he didn't really expound on it like you said. Because truthfully, I haven't ran into it. And I'm not saying it's not any, but me personally, I haven't ran into any NOI members that do the 72. They always talk about the 24. There's a few that do the 48, but the 72 to go, every 3 days and just eat 1 meal, because it says you're supposed to, the 1 meal you eat, you eat enough to sustain you for the rest of the hours that you're not going to eat. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the 24 hours is where most people are. And
Okay.
that's the best we can do in these environments where we have to work these long, hard jobs and maintain based on the quality of food that we're eating. But it's not
Right.
optimal. It's just the best that we can. And so when
Okay.
everybody's growing at their own pace. Everybody's doing the best they can with what they got. But if you think about the optimal way to live, we didn't have jobs back in the days of the prophet. Like, some people were slaves,
Yeah, I had to
but
think about that. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't as much as what we going through right now. Yeah.
and let alone, like, today, I don't even consider them to be jobs. I look at them like spiritual warfare. Like, it's an
Okay.
attack on us, and we're doing the best that we can to maintain in this war.
True. I agree. We definitely spiritual warfare. Oh, I definitely agree with that. And the processed foods, all the fast foods,
All of that, bro.
all the steroids, all the steroids being shot up in the meats and stuff like that. And I totally agree with you on that. I was talking with my empress today earlier about it. As far as the chicken and the food and the meats and stuff, like, out of all the people and the population on the earth, there is not enough animal farms to produce all this vast meat that's being sold around here. It's I'm trying to make it make sense, and I don't know. Do you see that it's enough farms around to keep producing all this mad meat that we've been seeing?
I'm gonna say it like this: there could be enough farms for that. I don't think that there are, but the,
Exactly.
the way that they operate is not necessary. Like, a lot of us think that we can trust the labels. So whatever they tell us is in the ground beef package, we're gonna eat it thinking that
We
we eating
believe it
ground beef.
is. Right.
I don't trust the ground beef package. So whenever I
Okay.
eat meat, I try to eat meat on the bone.
Okay.
That's my
Now,
philosophy.
that's what we were talking about. Yeah, we were talking about chicken, and she was telling me that a few pieces chicken that she done ran across while she's cleaning it and getting the fat and stuff off. The
Mm-hmm.
texture of it, she said, has been totally different from what it used to be. And then she'll pick up another piece of chicken, and the texture is different from that one piece. Then here in Michigan, there's a couple of markets that have been caught shooting dye inside the meat to bring it back to color, to make it look fresh. You understand what I'm saying?
I
So,
mean, so I actually went down to my land. I took I took my nephews and I took some of their friends, and we had a rites of passage program where I taught them how to dispatch a chicken.
okay,
We also we gutted it, we feathered it, we cleaned it, and then we boiled it and we ate it. And that was all a part of the rites of passage program to understand, where your food come from and what it looks like. I made them hold the
right,
chicken beforehand, so all of them got comfortable and familiar with it, and then we dispatched
right.
it and we prayed over it. Um, One of the things that they said was that chicken tasted totally different from the chicken that they used to getting at the store. And so that opened up the conversation and we talked about it, and I was explaining to them that, um, first of all, this isn't even the best quality of chicken, right? I bought this chicken from a farmer. Imagine if we grew our own chicken, then we would get even better quality of chicken. But
Right.
even that, right? This is a fresh chicken. Most of us are not used to eating fresh meat. We get meat that is
Okay, we gonna run it to a commercial. Need a commercial real quick, and then we gonna come back and get back with the king. I mean, Muhammad.
However, I'm still gon' bring it raw. Let me know that folks is hot as the temperature in the south. Leave alone if temptation make you reckless. We'll send you home. In a box sign to the live with that, turn a stamp on your dome. Better keep it no focus, quick and hit you like hocus pocus. Boy, you better get the picture, cause I'm about to greet you with some homegrown heavy hitters and lick 'em up shot niggas. I put it down with TP from aka Rock Roll Killer. You know the boys I'm talking about that'll knock your head off your shoulder. Leave your block look like I ran through about 50 concrete boulders. So all new school crews are from the rules of the old school. Crossing the gun line, dusting your ass, singing them old blues. Penetrate this mic like, hey, I'm about to shake you out your damn shoe. And ripping through these beats like sheets, it's true pleasure like a bird man. My nigga cat that lives in any weather, can't shit the chatter. We put the hood up for collateral call. I wanna live like rich, hand on my dick with a ghetto bitch. I'm trying to make a meal and I'm making it quick. I'm loving this shit, I'm loving this shit. Oh, it's just a ghetto living in me. You see what I see, you be what I be. I'm down on my grind, nigga, naturally. Ghetto living in me, ghetto living in me. She want a roughneck player who can hit that ass. When you tell him to stop it, then he fuck you real fast. She want him aggressive and out of mark with a mean street. A nigga to beat that ass cause you's a straight up freak. She use a side bitch, hang with shy bitches and hoes. Get behind closed doors, they licking the crack of your toe. It's just that easy, I mean it's just that simple. I get them all alone and watch them pop like a pimple. I'm not the Mac Beats, you be calling me the man. With my dick inside my head while I'm swinging from the ceiling fan. But you didn't understand it, they just feel the air. You love it from the back, you love the way we pull your hair. Straight ghetto, living with a foot in the dog. We down for making paper, living large off the hall. I never been a sucker cause I know the cheaters prosper. All a nigga needs a certified head doctor. Whoa, I wanna feel like rich. Hand on my dick with a ghetto bitch. I'm trying to make a meal and I'm making it quick. I'm loving this shit, I'm loving this shit. Oh, it's just a ghetto living in me. You see what I see, you be what I be. I'm down on the grind, nigga, naturally. Ghetto living in me, ghetto living in me. It's the same old nigga off the same old
block, dope block, hate cops and keep the cars that hot. Come up hard like Marvin Gaye, into a world of yay. Can you say crime pay? I be flipping every day. I got to make a change. This gangster life I live, shedding tattoo tears for bills dying through the years. It's my destiny to ball on these 20-inch rims. Wood grain, leather package, niggas call me Soldier Slim. My troops hang around me strapped deep in the south, and they be quick to pull the trigger and blow your brains out your mouth. We be sewing up the block with them 20s and 30s. Down south, getting dirty in my hand, big birds. 8 bars of verse, I see you quick to your hearse. Fucking word, hit my turf and watch the guns disperse. On a mission, get rich, I keep a true ghetto bitch. Gold teeth, tattoos, and braids and weeds that twist. Cause I wanna live like rich. Ain't on my dick with a ghetto.
Hey, that boy Bash cooking again.
Bitches up there.
Bitches up there. You stuck. Gang.
Bitches up there, you don't want no smoke, why would you say the game? Lock and load the strap like a Marine, I feel like Major Payne. Niggas shouldn't have played with Best, cause now they gon' engrave his name. I used to treat her like a queen, might slut her out cause feelings change. Stop asking me what's wrong with me, bitch, I'm going through some things. Miss Pearly and Miss Herbie too, I might just go lay in they grave. They keep telling folks I'm crazy, bitch, cause you don't feel my pain. Watch my homie die was facing 30 years, bitch, I'm deranged. Helping people like I'm Jesus, heating up, I feel like Satan. She can't hear me, but she feel me, and I know you love me, Sadie. And my youngest spin your block, put that phone, what's the name? Don't like me, I don't give a fuck, I'ma ball out anyway. I'm like, fuck you niggas, and fuck you bitches, I'ma ball out. We play with digits, run up them numbers, shut them all down. I'm working 7 days a week and I can never call off. Sorry, I can't help you, no, I'm not the one to call on now. Go get a hustle off your ass and put the phone down. They talked about me like a dog, let's switch the tone now. Say every dog gon' have his day, I got the bone now. Got too much motion, ain't no way that I can slow down. Feel like what you say to me. Yeah. You can call me Poppy, better not play with me. I'm gon' slay the heat. Got 100 rounds, don't give a fuck if they 80 deep. Yeah. Bitch, don't ask me why I'm here, you know I came to beef. I got a young nigga slang and he got ADD. Say he gon' kill me when he see me, so I came to see. Fuck you mean, nigga, you gon' die right in this bitch, you think about touching me. Where I'm from, you die for nothing, young niggas gon' bust for free. I can't put my heart in me no more, I'm just gon' bust the freak. I only put my trust inside my gun, I'm barely trusting me. You don't want no smoke, why would you say the game? Locked and loaded, strapped like a Marine, I feel like Major Payne. Niggas shouldn't have played with Best, cause now they gon' engrave his name. I used to treat her like a queen, might slut her out cause feelings change. Stop asking me what's wrong with me, bitch, I'm going through some things. Miss Pearly and Miss Herbie too, I might just go lay in they grave. They keep telling folks I'm crazy, bitch, cause you don't feel my pain. Watch my homie die was facing 30 years, bitch, I'm deranged. Helping people like I'm Jesus, heating up, I feel like Satan. She can't hear me, but she feel me, and I know you love me, Sadie. And my youngest spin your block, put that phone, what's the name? Don't like me, I don't give a fuck, I'ma ball out anyway.
I'ma ball out anyway, don't like me, I don't give a fuck. I'ma ball out anyway. On GD, don't like me, I don't give a fuck. I'ma ball out anyway. Yeah, believe it, stay humble, nigga. Two. KP on the couch, nigga. Hey, that boy Bash cooking again. 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 That boy Bash. Hey, that boy Bash cooking again. I mean, the one that don't like it.
I'm the one that they don't like. We don't fuck, she just suck it all night. Got some get back on my mind. Oh, nobody see when I slide. Eat on that pussy, it's mine. Beat on that pussy like Ike. Hit that little bit like she mine. Then I tell her take a hike. Turn me right on, I'm gone. I just want to enjoy the moment, cause baby, I probably won't be here long. Hey, she loving the way that they smell. Doja ass out like my cologne. Don't wanna wait on the mail. Jump on the road and pick up the load. Know I'm a fool in the kitchen, I give it to bro, he a fool with them balls. You better why when you stepping these Valentino sneakers cost me some extra. Yeah, I'm with a white chick with some big titties like she Karma Electric. I'm with a mixed chick with a big booty, she ain't even from Texas. I spent a little bit of time in this water, so I'm never ducking the test. You know I smile every day cause I'm coming out swinging from under the pressure. You know I smile every day cause I'm winning and my city want me to feel. I really lost it all in the storm, I know that you probably can tell. Gotta be honest, my pride is too large, I don't wanna ask her for help. Yeah, I know these niggas don't like me, probably wanna take my life. Yeah, my
Just a conversation, and we here chopping it up with the Chef Amin Muhammad. We talking about farming, agriculture, nation building. Y'all know what it is. This the second hour, King. This your hour. Whatever you want to chop it up about, social, economic, political, bullshit, whatever you want to chop it up about. I know you ain't gonna chop it up about no bullshit. I'm just, throw that up in there. Whatever you want to chop it up
I
about.
like talking about some bullshit. I like talking about politics and all that. All that bullshit.
Okay, we whatever you want to chop it up about, King, we can chop it up on this second hour, and then coming in just a conversation. You can start it off then. What you want to chop it up about?
Man, I had a dream the other day that we found out that that Ibrahim Traore was an AI.
Who is Abraham Jadori?
You don't know who Ibrahim Traore is?
Enlighten me, brother. I've never heard of that name.
It's this brother in Africa, in Burkina Faso, who's kind of taking over the airways, and he's being strong.
Him, got you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He wear the little beret.
Yeah, yep, Burkina.
It's very inspiring to our people.
Is he? What is he doing?
He's trying to make Africa sovereign. He's trying to clean up, all the mistakes of the last couple 100 years where we allowed, some others to come in and take over the motherland.
Gotcha. So he's trying to do the same thing that Patrice Lumumba, Mugabe, and Gaddafi.
He openly follows in the footsteps of Latrice, Gaddafi, even Farrakhan. He loves it all.
Yeah. Right. Gotcha. Now, what's your take on that?
To me, I feel like whatever we consider to be the revolution, whatever we consider to be this change that's gonna happen in the world, I feel like it's gonna have to come from America. Just my perspective is the world follows behind what Black Americans are doing, and I think that has something to do with the fact that Black Americans come from all over the world. We're not just one monolith, even though they try to make it seem like we're just one people.
Right.
We come from every facet of this planet.
Yeah. I totally agree. I asked you that because I didn't know the brother's name, but I definitely know the face. And I keep seeing the name the country, Burkina. The thing about what the brother is doing, and it's beautiful, is just that right now the continent of Africa has been ransacked so bad over all these decades of colonialism. The Dutch coming in and taking over the lower half of Africa. The Greeks and the Romans going in, taking in the upper half of Africa. And then you got the middle lane, the middle countries and stuff, and they like stuck in between. Half of them civilized and half of them still living, the nomadic tribal life. So, and then we ain't even talking about the tribes they ain't even ran across yet.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like the colonization is worldwide. I don't see it as like, over there they got that problem and we don't have that problem over here. I see it more like,
oh no, it's colonialism over here.
Right now, the meek are what we call meek. They quiet and they sit down, and at the end, the meek shall inherit the earth because currently they don't own the earth, even though they are the rightful owners of the earth. Right now, they don't own it.
Right, exactly. I agree with that.
That's all over.
Yeah, in the aspect of, I'm thinking it's also more of the mentality and spirituality of what an individual will be in. Because let's say the whole continent of Africa, every country gains independence. Let's say that happens. So now that each country has its own independence, it still goes back to who's going to be the ruler or what ruling class of politics that is going to control that country. And this goes back to the mentality of the individual or individuals that's chosen to do that.
Yes, sir.
So
I mean, it's a spiritual war. It never was a physical war. It's about the hearts and minds.
exactly. And they always try to make us feel like it's physical because we see soldiers and our family members becoming military people and going over to other countries fighting for a corporation.
Hmm.
Because
Well, I
they're
mean,
not over there fighting for the American government.
the people that currently run the world are physical people. They don't understand spirituality. So there's no way
Exactly.
that they can lead us in spirituality. They can only lead
Right.
us in physicality.
True to that. Okay.
And so
Okay.
long as we allow them to lead, that's the life we're gonna live.
Yeah, it's time out for all that though. That grace
I mean,
period
yeah,
over, bro.
absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? That grace period over. That's why that grace period was over back during Noble Drew Ali and Elijah Muhammad time.
In 1930, that grace period ended officially.
Officially. So
You know, so right
what's
now,
going on?
all it is just waiting on us
To do what?
to
And
wake up.
who's waiting? Oh, you mean it's okay, the universe
The entire universe is waiting on us to wake up.
to wake up. Wow.
Uh-huh.
That's
It won't be all of us. We know that. It's just got to be a
oh
majority.
yeah. Yeah. You know, Drew Ali said I can't wake all you sleepy headed Moors up at one time, you might tear up something. So I definitely understand that one. Yeah. Back to the motherland and everything. Now you said that every other country follows the examples and leadership per se of Black America. Let me ask you this question. To you, what is Black America? Because to me, Black America don't exist.
Um, I can understand it from that perspective. Black America is a myth. Um, because you go to the question of what is America, what is Africa. These are illusions. These are ideals. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I look at it like we are the original man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet, or God of the universe. I look at it like we
Okay.
are the children. We are God, the children of God. And depending on how you see that, because there's an aspect of it. I'm gonna put it like this. I look at everything from a spiritual, a mental, and a physical aspect. All of life.
Okay.
And so,
Right.
from a spiritual aspect, we are made up of the same atoms or the same things that the original man created himself out of. We are God.
Mm-hmm.
On a physical, we are individuals. We are a culmination of all of what has happened to all of our people. And if you look at it like how trauma works, we have the genetic memory of the trauma of all of the peoples of the world. We have a healing that's bigger than anybody else on the planet has, and it stems for us in particular from what happened to us 400 years ago and up until today. But it's deeper than that. It goes much deeper than that. We've been around millions of years, so we got a lot of healing to do. And when we heal, whatever Black America is, when Black America heals, the whole world will reverberate around that. Most people don't. Most people around the world understand who their grandparents and great grandparents are. Most of us don't, because we don't have those ties and those connections that allow us to look back with some sort of pride. We come into the world in America as individuals. We live our lives as individuals, and that's not true. That's a lie.
Yeah.
So
as
that
we definitely
grow
is.
and develop and start to understand who we are, it says that my people suffer for a lack of knowledge. What is a lack of knowledge? Like what knowledge are they missing? They're missing the knowledge of
Let's
self.
bring it back like
They don't
when
Yeah,
understand who
exactly.
they
what
are.
got us home and
Yeah,
focus on
I
this
agree with
world
that
around
totally.
us, not the one inside
I
the
agree with
phone.
that.
And not a stone
When
I
I
throw, 'cause, bro,
say
my house is
Black
glass
America
cracked and
doesn't
dirty.
exist,
Chasing bags, I doubled down and woke
and
up
and
feeling
my
half as worthy.
understanding
Word of half is curvy,
and
so the
studies
devil
that,
works at every
for
turn
one,
like
black is a
vision, but
color.
history repeats
For
itself
two,
unless we learn the earth is
black is
burning
not
faster than it's
recognized
turning.
in the
Turning time
UN
seems, imagine all the
and the
devils manifested
Constitution
from a coward's dreams.
of this
Forgive yourself and
government or
yesterday,
country,
and you could do
etc.,
the same, 'cause
because
what you think
it's not
about,
a
you bring about.
nationality.
So look into your brain, tap inside your
And,
spirit, you
and
can hear
I
it speak
understand
truth and
you
light.
understand where I'm coming from with
Purpose is
that
the
when I say
value
that,
of
Absolutely.
because
human life. So if you
for
really want to
people,
bang
and
and
this
slide and
just
check the
I'm taking
people,
back to,
big steppers only
for a
grab
people
that
to
meat to
exist,
protect the people.
we go look at what
'Cause
the
every
British
city
did.
got a system
They
and
let
they
all of their
understand,
criminals
but we can't
out
love
their
each other till
gulags.
we
With
learn to love
over here we
ourselves.
call prisons. They let them out and send them over here. Okay, so they came over 1611. Bam, Plymouth Rock landed on us for sure. They decimated the tribes, which were us. You see what I'm saying? We had a national flag. We had nationality. We had our land. We had our own finances, per se, whether it was the barter system or whatever type of system our ancient people had in this country before the British came, before the Dutch and and all the rest of them came over here. We don't have that now. We don't have a nationality anymore because they want to put 15,000 titles on American. We could be what? Black, Afro. Afro is a hairstyle. Okay. African. Okay, what country? Are we Congo American? Are we Senegal American? You see what I'm saying? So in the aspect of what a black America is, this is what I say is that we have to have a nationality, in my understanding.
So the way I look at it is, when God created himself, he said be and it is. In the beginning there was the word. It wasn't like a specific title for God. It wasn't a specific religion of God. It was just the word. And as we grew in tribes and numbers and stuff like that, we needed to establish these titles and these names and things like that to kind of keep things straight and organized. But at the root of it was, who we are and what we want to do and what the way we want to live. And sure, the bigger your community gets, the more things you need. Like, you don't really need a fire station when you're nomadic and you live in town to town. But if you're stationary, you need a fire station. Like, the more you need.
Right.
So there is a need to an extent for titles and things like that. But I don't stop there. It's like, if that name needs to change, that name needs to change. It's not important. The last name that we had as a people was, we were Asiatic. That was the last name that we gave ourselves that encompassed who we really were, instead of all these different tribes with different names and things like that. If you talk about who we are as a people, we are the Asiatic black man, because this whole planet was known as Planet Asia, and all of the landmass combined were Asia.
Was Asian. Yeah.
And then you got Asia Minor, you got Asia Major, you got all these different, but those were just us trying to keep everything straight.
Right.
And so, of course, when you got this new kid on the block who comes in and changes all the names and puts all these invisible lines and borders up and decides how to chop up the resources and where everything's going to go, of course, they're going to come with 100 different names. But that goes back to knowledge of self and understanding who you are. If you understand yourself through somebody else's eyes, then they dictate and control the direction that you're going in your life. If you understand who you are from your own original perspective, you dictate where you're going in this life.
Exactly. That's what makes us sole controllers of our own destiny.
That's what God is. Somebody with force and power who can dictate which direction they want to go.
Exactly. No, I'm in agreement with that. I'm totally in agreement with all that. It's just the aspect of when our people, and mind you, I'm not excluding that, because you have biracial people who, oh, you're excluding the Caucasian. One of my parents is Caucasian. Okay, that's fine. We're not taking away the element of your DNA. We get that. We also understand the fact that the brown and the gray gene, the germ, however they want to, the recessive and the dominant. We all, we go into all that. We can go into all that also. That doesn't clear up the fact of how we're looked at on paper. And when I say paper, I'm talking about all these legal documents, the Magna Carta, the Constitution of America, the Bill of Rights, all the amendments and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? All these play a part in the element of this control and colonialism in America.
Absolutely. So the way I
So,
look at it, like, go ahead.
no, go ahead, King. I was just gonna add the aspect of us calling ourselves as far as a nation of people black. It doesn't. It's not recognized. You see what I'm saying? Because we can't go
So
to another country. We can go to another country. They're not gonna look at us as black. They're gonna look at us as American.
so
So what we supposed to do in that
there
aspect?
there is no place that we can go on this planet that will accept us as our own as it stands. But
Right.
at the same time, 196,940,000 square miles of this planet belongs to us.
They
It's a
do.
matter
I
of
agree.
it's a ma- it's a matter of us doing for self and separating from anything that doesn't serve us. And
Mm.
that separation, it starts with the mental. It
Okay.
eventually becomes the physical, and then when you got
Right.
the mental and the physical in sync, you got spiritual.
Right.
But we got to we have to start with doing for self and
Of
being
course.
self-sufficient. And I'm not saying quit your job and go out there and just grind and hustle. That's only one way. There's many ways to do
Mm-hmm.
for self. As long as you
True
know
to
where you're
that.
going with your life, you're doing for self. You're not allowing somebody else to dictate that. But I look at it
Right.
like in a war, there's gonna be many battles. You can't just fight a
Mm-hmm.
war, everybody going in one direction. You gotta fight the direction that the enemies come from. So if the enemy's coming from
Okay.
the front, you fight to the front. If the enemy's coming from the left or the right, you fight to those angles. If the enemy comes behind you, you can't say my war is in the front, I'm not gonna look behind. You gotta be able to have
True.
a plan for all of these actions. So I look at it like, yes, let's get our nationality and understand who we are. But also, let's get into the food and get into the soil and growing our own food. Also,
Mm.
let's start creating jobs and schools and hospitals for ourselves and our children and our elderly. Like, we need elders, we
Exactly.
need old folks' homes that we control, because we don't even respectfully think about our elderly the same way that our enemy does. And I'm not saying our enemy because we are against them. I call them our enemy because they have put themselves against us. I don't
Right.
want no ill will towards nobody. I'm going to only fight with those who fight with me.
Exactly. I agree with you. I totally agree with that. Totally. And you're right. And it's all, but bro, I mean, in the aspect of war, you always supposed to know your opponent better than you know yourself.
Well, that's
Our
in
people are
optimal
taught this.
circumstances. The reason why we're losing is because we don't.
We don't exactly, bro. That's what I was about to say. We don't. Our people are not. But that goes from the conditioning that we go through
Yeah,
from a childhood, from school,
yeah.
and this is why I've always applauded and honored the University of Islam under the NOI, because
Uh-huh.
them young brothers and young sisters, 4, 5 years old, reciting the Quran and the Bible by memory, being able to, you know what I'm saying? They're growing geniuses. This is the type of curriculum Asiatic children need on a whole scale, period, in America.
And
Now,
you
I'm
want to
just
know
dealing
something
with
that's funny?
America.
That
I
that's
definitely,
not even
go ahead,
optimal.
bro.
That's the best that we can do now. The optimal way to raise your children is to teach them at home, to teach them yourself, and
Exactly.
give them what it
Yep.
is you want them to know.
And society makes it where we can't do that.
That part. So how do you change that? You create your own society.
You can create your own society. Yeah. We got to get the land. And that's the first part
We
in which
gotta
you
get
and
the
your
land.
brother. Yeah, and like I said, mad salute to you and your brother, your siblings, for getting the land and doing what needs to be done with the land because that's true. We need land. You can't be independent without land. You can't be independent without a national flag. You can't be independent without your own finances. So yeah, I totally look, bruh. That's why I'm glad you're on the show, bruh,
So
because this is the
so
things that our
so
people need to hear.
my mom put me, my brother, and my sister down this pathway towards uh my sister was supposed to be I think my sister was supposed to be a nurse, my brother was supposed to be a
Hmm.
lawyer, and I was supposed to be a doctor. Um
Okay.
but in my mom's mind, these were just high paying jobs. This was the best that, she could see in her future. But what ended up happening was my brother got into the land and into
Hmm.
buying property. My little sister got into education and to
Okay.
teaching the children, and I got into food. The messenger's
Okay.
blueprint for us was food, clothing, and shelter. Because when you start
Yeah.
off with food,
12.
clothing, and shelter,
Yeah. 12
you got
Jews of
the economic,
Islam.
you got the basis for the economic blueprint.
Economic blueprint. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
I agree
So
with that.
my brother, he currently owns the MUI. Well, they changed the name from MUI because there was some politics going on. But he owns a school
Hmm.
for the youth in Los Angeles, and those children graduate from high school, and then they go into his trade school in Chicago, which is called Oasis.build. And they
Hmm.
learn construction in Oasis, and they remodel apartment complexes, and they serve them to in the underserved communities.
Right. Okay.
And
Okay.
so,
Those are
and then
videos you be
and my
sharing on your
mom,
IG.
yeah, and my mom,
Yep.
she has a clothing store in Leimert Park where she manufactures clothing. She came up with her own clothing line. It's an African clothing store, so when you go in there,
Hmm.
she has like African clothing and African art and all of that. But in the back, she
Right.
got her own little sweatshop where she manufactures clothing and she distributes it throughout the entire country. And then my
Oh,
little
that's
sister,
what's up.
she runs the wing of the school, the young children from preschool to 12th grade in Los Angeles, and then we
Hmm.
just opened up a restaurant. So I'm gonna be feeding the people from the restaurant.
Right. Yeah.
So
That's
we
it.
we working on the food, clothing, and shelter. We working on the economic blueprint.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Look, once y'all get that community going, let me know, cause I'll be sure I'm there. Cause it's just
You
like the
definitely
brothers and
invited, my
sisters.
brother.
Man, thank you, bro. Thank you for sure. Because that's what we need. A few shows back, we was talking about Black Wall Street, um, Rosewood. All the Asiatic communities right after segregation. I mean, well, not right before segregation, right after slavery and stuff, where we thrived.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Everything that was took from the plantation, the sharecropping, the plumbing, everything that was necessary, even though it's more stuff nowadays than it was back then, we were more unified. We had more
Hmm.
love for each other. Not mind you, not that it wasn't no BS going on because we human. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But it was more unity as a people. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't all of it. The mistrust, the mistrust has torn our people apart drastically.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's our fault because to the degree of egoism. Because once you get rid of that ego shit and the attitudes, then you'll be able to, what I'm saying, properly navigate communication. Because that's what our people lack also was communication. We want to talk at each other instead of talk to each other. You get them? You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah, well, so the reason why we failed back then and the reason why we won't fail today is, to me, it's simple, but it's still an obstacle for many of our people, and
Mm-hmm.
it's our lack of knowledge. We don't fully understand who we are, so we allow all sorts of evils to corrupt us, from
Okay.
drinking alcohol, smoking weed, and trusting people who we should not trust, and
Mm-hmm.
doing business with people that are not trustworthy, like, and and,
Mm-hmm.
and and all of these external forces that we allow to corrupt who we are, and not allow us to stand on business. Imagine today where we got, and I'm from the Nation of Islam, so I'm biased. So I don't like to toot my horn, but the Nation of
Mm-hmm.
Islam is the only black army in the world that absolutely stands on what we call the restrictive law, where we're not allowed to drink, we're not allowed to smoke, we're not allowed to fornicate. We believe in God's law and we follow God's rule. And I'm not saying we perfect at it, but the closer we get to having our own society, the stronger we will be at that. As long as we're living in this society and trying to play catch up and keeping up with this world, it's gonna be difficult. But the closer we get to doing for self and having our own, the easier it becomes to live naturally the way we're supposed to. I personally believe that most of us drink and smoke because of depression. I don't get upset about it. I just understand where people are.
Mm. That's a understanding viewpoint of that. My producer brother Jay, he feels somewhat similar to that. He's just as adverse to what we call recreational endeavors. You see what I'm saying as far as with the weed and the drugs and stuff. The hard drugs I don't mess with. Might sip on occasion. Definitely a stoner. I will adhere to that all day long. Yeah,
Do you
I
drive? Do
am
you drive when you're drunk?
never,
Okay. So if you know
never.
that your mind is impaired when you're doing this activity, and you also know that we got a whole world to build, do we
Yes,
realistically have time for recreation?
it depends on what kind of recreation you talking about, my brother.
I'm
Nah,
talking I'm talking
we
I'm
we
talking about
have.
I'm talking about I'm talking about
Yeah, I know what you're
anything that
talking
takes
about.
us off the straight and narrow path.
No,
Anything.
I totally agree with you saying. Now the thing about it is, because I look, I smoke weed, I smoke weed, I smoke weed. That's what I do. I will not
I've done it.
allow
I
it.
don't judge nobody.
No, no, I'm just saying I do not allow my endeavors of that to get in the way of me being a positive individual, or get in the
Okay.
way of me not knowing what to teach, or get in the way of me not, you know what I'm saying, doing something that's proper. Because I'm not finna do anything negative because my mind is already set. You get what I'm saying?
What is your definition of a sin?
A who? In sync?
A sin. A sin. S-I-N. Sin.
My definition of a sin. Um, I don't have a definition for that. To me, sin is a made up word
Okay.
because it's
I,
either you doing negative or you doing positive. If you're doing
so for
negative,
me,
then that's something that's contrary to what positive is.
so for me, a sin is doing anything that's against you. Like
Okay.
there are small sins and there are big sins, and depending on how against you the thing you're doing is, that's how you determine whether it's a small sin or a big sin. If I sit down and I'm watching TV for you know 8 hours in my day
Mhm.
and I could have been doing something productive, to me that's a
Mhm.
sin. And so
Okay.
when I think about drinking and smoking, which to me it had to actually boil to a point before I had to come to the conclusion that this isn't an activity that I want to continue to do. Um,
Okay.
I I don't want to throw my wife out there like that, but she actually is the one who taught me that what I was doing was a sin because I started to indulge in drinking and smoking. I was at work and I'm
Mhm.
going out with my coworkers and we're having a couple drinks after work, decompressing and
Mhm.
whatnot. and
Right.
and that turned into having a smoke here and there, which turned into just enjoying what I consider to be living.
Okay.
I as the leader of my household, my wife also wanted to indulge in those things. So now not only am I doing it while I'm at work with my coworkers, but I'm also doing that at home with my wife. And yeah, we had good times doing it. We enjoyed ourselves, and this went on for
Mhm.
longer than it should have. Um, but and I've been married for 15 years, so we've had a lot of
Yeah. Got
experiences.
you. Right.
Um, she she ended up taking it too far on multiple occasions, and she would tell me like she was hanging out with her sister one time, and she didn't like the way the conversation went, and she didn't like how she couldn't get herself back on track to where the conversation should be going, and she felt out of control. And so, but she did that wasn't a deterrent for her to stop. And then she
Oh,
told me
okay.
about, she told me about, a time where she was smoking and she had stuff to do, or, and then I realized, carrying on like that was inhibiting me from being able to do certain things. Like, no, I'm not doing that right now. I'm high. Like, if an emergency ever happened and my wife needed me, but I'm high or drunk, I can't respond in the way that I want to. So it was just
Okay.
this culmination of me having to grow up and realize that everything that happens under my roof is my responsibility. Whether or not she
So
did it, it's still my responsibility because I'm the man of
responsibility,
my
yeah,
household.
because you're the man of the
And
household.
I
Exactly.
can't lead. I can't lead from a place of less than. I have to lead from being the best version of myself. And so that
True
led
that.
me to I cold turkey quit everything. And I was like, I'm gonna just continue to be the best example for my household that I can be on
Okay.
in every instance.
Got you. Palms up. I applaud that because you seen where it wasn't beneficial to your spiritual and mental growth.
Yeah.
And for anybody that
I was
sees that,
blessed.
yeah, that's good. And your queen gave it to you the way it's supposed to, because she seen it wasn't beneficial for her or you. That's the way it's supposed to be. Now,
Yeah.
on the flip side of that, with me, I personally will not allow weed, marijuana, any substance to stop me from my responsibilities. I be at work. I fly through my day perfectly. This is how it affects me. It don't affect everybody like that. Like my empress, when she be laid out for the day. I'm tired. I ain't doing nothing. I'm like, damn, what the. So I'm like, like your queen was like, okay, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be doing something. No, that's it. Don't do me like that. It gives me, I'm up and going. I'm
Hmm.
whether I'm writing, whether I'm doing music, uh, picking out a subject for an article to write or something. It keeps my mentals going. You see what I'm saying?
I
So
got you.
I stay focused. I don't get lazy or anything, and I'm not saying that a lot of people do or a lot of people don't. It don't affect me that way. Now I stopped
Yeah.
smoking cigarettes 5 years ago. I stopped smoking cigarettes
Alhamdulillah. That's a beautiful thing.
because, alhamdulillah, it wasn't beneficial. It was fucking me up. You said it was fucking my lungs up. And like you said, like you cut cold turkey. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, bro. I'm sitting up listening to music. I put a cigarette right there in front of me. I was like, I'm done with it. I broke that motherfucker and let it go.
Yep.
Cause
The
I
way I
knew
quit,
when.
I used to like to smoke my weed with a black and mild. So I would dump out the black and
Oh,
mild, mix
and
that with
put
the
it in
weed,
there. Right.
and put it back in there. And I had just got done. I had a whole, I think it was like an 8 pack. I don't even remember how many come in the pack no more, but it was a whole pack, and I had just made it,
Hmm.
and I was about to smoke it, and I was like, man, last week you told yourself you wasn't gonna be smoking no more. You told yourself you was gonna quit, and I threw the
Hmm.
pack, and I threw it.
Okay.
I was walking past the funeral home, and I threw the pack into the funeral home, and that was like $50 worth of weed. I think it was like $6, $7 for the black and milds. And
Right.
the way my mind works, once I threw that, I wasn't gonna go buy another and invest in that again just to throw it
Right.
again. So I was done.
Right. Okay. No, I totally understand. So it goes right along with what you said. If it don't align with your development and growth, then cut it out the way. I
Absolutely.
totally agree with that, King. Totally agree with that.
I agree with you said. Like everybody ain't the same. We are all gods on our own individual paths, and things affect us
Exactly.
all
Yes, sir.
differently. So if it don't affect you, I ain't even talking to you.
Damn. Right. No, I was saying that more so to say because you do have a lot of people who judge. You see what I'm saying?
And you got
You do have a
and you
lot of
got a lot of people that continue to do it even though it's affecting them negatively.
exactly. That you right.
That all
Yeah.
exists.
It all it all wraps up into one big old ball of humanity. You right, bro. I totally agree. I totally agree.
Me and
It's been we
me and my
got
wife had this conversation. Go ahead.
no. Go ahead, bro.
Me and my wife had this conversation. This wasn't even too long ago. It was like a couple months ago, and I was telling her, I'm trying to be a prophet. I'm trying to be like the prophets was. The prophets lived
Right.
1,000 years. I'm trying to do that. And
Right.
she took it from a cynical perspective, like you can't be a prophet. And she goes into how the line of the prophets is done, and da, 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 da. And I wasn't even saying
No,
like I'm.
that's not
Let
even
me
true.
finish. Let
But
me
no,
finish. But
I
let me
got
finish.
you.
I wasn't even saying I'm trying to be written in the Bible and trying to be. I'm talking about I want to be as clear and level-headed that I can properly deduce what I want to see in my household. I want to be able to understand my children to an extent where I can know what their next move is going to be based on what they're doing right now. And to me,
Exactly.
I look at prophets having the ability to do that, thousands of years into the future. And I don't think that
Yeah.
that's something that none of us can do. I think that that's just something that we don't cultivate. And so when I think about me living on my land and being able to be clear headed, like even when my brother bought the land and he told me about that, and I started down this journey of having purpose in my life, I started getting crazy dreams and started understanding the world a little bit differently. So I'm like,
Okay.
if I maximize on that potential, if I'm clear headed all the time, I can dive deeper down that pathway of understanding my purpose in the world and understanding where I can lead my
Yeah.
household.
Totally. Totally understand that. You're right. Because you're seeing it from a different perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's always
That's
and
that's how life is all about, is perspective.
bam. And that goes into the aspect of energy. Life is all energy.
Hmm.
It's just we have been given the ability to choose which frequency of energy we want to walk. You want to
You
walk
ever hear
negative
you
energy?
hear the one about the two wolves?
Mm-mm.
I don't know where it comes from, but I live by it, and it's like
Okay.
all of us have two wolves within us, right? And
Okay.
whatever wolf you feed, that's the wolf that's gonna grow and become strong. So
Exactly.
when I think about doing something that I know is sinful or against myself, I think about
Mm-hmm.
feeding that wolf that I don't want to feed, that dark wolf, that
Yeah,
evil
I know
wolf.
what you're saying.
And when I think
The
about
lower
doing
self.
something that helps me and helps my community and helps my people and furthers me along my mission and on this straight and narrow path, I'm feeding the good wolf. So it's like
Damn.
every decision I make in my life, I'm like, am I feeding the good wolf or am I feeding the bad wolf? And I'm
Right.
constantly trying to feed the good wolf.
Hey man. No, I definitely know the story. Your story, I switch it into lower self and higher self. You see what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? The lower self would be the
Or you
bad
can
wolf.
say the two angels on your shoulders.
Yeah, yep, exactly. Exactly. And that's what I
Hmm.
say we have the choice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
On one energy, we have the choice to be negative or the choice to be positive. No, all
Yep.
day.
Absolutely.
Totally agree with that. You know, I tell them all day long.
It's in every single decision that we make.
Yeah, yeah. And that
Is
ability is in
am
every
I gonna
human being.
am I gonna eat am I gonna eat the watermelon or am I gonna eat the fried chicken? You know what I mean? Like, am I gonna
I,
drink the Kool-Aid or am I gonna drink the water?
I'm going to eat the fried chicken and drink the water. Because you already know that Kool-Aid got a half a bag of sugar up in that joint.
I mean, yeah. And what all is in that chicken? It what is it
Uh,
real chicken? Is it real
that's a good
chicken,
point.
first of all?
Yeah.
Do it have a whole bunch of genetically modified flour on it? All of these
Ooh.
aspects to it.
Man, don't talk about the batter like that, bro. Come on, man. You gotta talk about the batter, man.
Hold on. It get deeper than that. You got the seasonings nowadays. The seasonings, the herbs and spices got heavy metals in them, and they sit them around in plastic containers all day.
What?
I mean, if you go to the
Oh,
shelf,
well,
all
hold up.
everything's sitting in plastic or aluminum.
No, I agree with that part. But you said the seasonings have metal in it. Are you far as the
So
ingredients?
yeah, bro, I'm talking about literally most of our herbs and spices come from like India and Africa, and they're producing them. They're making them in these factories with heavy machinery. They're grinding them up, and all kind of heavy metals
Oh,
are getting
okay.
put into the food.
Wow. I never thought about
Yeah,
that. You know what?
it
That's a
go,
good
bro. It
point.
goes
You're
deep.
right, because they got yeah, the black pepper, the lemon, the salt, all of it got to be broken. And see what I'm saying?
So if you're
Man.
not using fresh herbs and fresh
Mhm.
spices to cook your food, what are you putting in your food? What are you putting in your body?
You're right. The same stuff that's yeah. I'm you right. You can't do nothing but accept the truth, bro. Cause I've
So
never heard
so
that at all as far as
so Elijah
seasonings. You say what,
Elijah
King?
Muhammad tells. Go ahead.
No, my brother Jason was saying something.
I can hear you. Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
sir. Absolutely. You got to do it like that. I mean,
Okay.
it's like that's part of do for self. That's part of the messages program. But Elijah
Yeah.
Muhammad, he teaches us not to eat processed foods. And there's a
Right.
whole myriad of reasons why we shouldn't be eating processed foods. But what we don't consider is seasonings and herbs are processed foods. Are the
Yeah.
supplements
See,
they
I
give
didn't.
us, all the
Right.
all the supplements they tell us, the vitamins and supplements that we take in instead of eating the right way and eating how to live, all of that got
Hmm.
is processed food. All of that is shredded through these big factories and these machines, and it's broken down, and then we're taking it in with the heavy metals and the plastics that it's stored in.
Gotcha.
It goes deep, bro.
Nah, that you right. I've never thought about the seasoning at all. That's I appreciate that, bro. Thank you. I
Hey, they say
really
the devil is
appreciate
in the
that.
details.
Yeah, because it's not a physical person.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah. Mm. True to that. High blood pressure and stuff. Okay.
And
Okay.
if you growing it yourself, you can determine how old it is, and when you know how old it is, you know how much nutrients is left in it. If you eating dry herbs and
That's a
stuff
good
like that,
point.
and they've been sitting around for years and years and years, you don't
Right.
know how much nutrients is left.
No, you're right. You're right. I agree with that. Brother King Jason was like, he mentioned about once you season it with the right and proper things, you're not getting a heavy amount of salt inside your food
Yeah,
once you season it yourself with the right seasonings. Then you know the amount that you're putting in, and it's not going to be detrimental to your health and everything. So no,
but
I definitely agree with that. Go ahead, bro.
it's all baby steps, right? You
Yeah.
can't feed a steak to a baby. So we got to do the
No, of
best that
course.
we can where we at, but also understanding that every decision we make has consequences and reverberations. So the
Yeah.
longer we eat that, yeah, there is death. But we,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we shouldn't be afraid of death because death is just a transition into another thing that we don't fully understand yet.
No, from what I'm learning, death is a transition that we have to remember. We know it, we just forgot it.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the
But
yeah.
in this state of lack of knowledge, we
Right
are
now,
afraid of
yeah,
it.
exactly. And we're not supposed to
You
be.
know,
But yeah, that's a whole
no.
nother conversation. We got to get you back on the show for that one. Yeah,
Yes,
that's a
sir.
whole nother conversation. Yeah, bro. Yeah, no doubt, for sure.
It's
We
levels
definitely
to
gonna have
it.
to get you back on for that. It's definitely levels to it, for sure. We got 10 minutes left, King. Tell them where to find you. What you got next up coming up on the horizon for Oasis, for Chef Muhammad Jr. What's next? What's next on the horizon for the young king?
The thing I'm most excited about is my rites of passage program, and it's very
Okay.
simple. We just take young boys, and hopefully I like to take their fathers with them because I think it's an opportunity for the sons and the fathers to grow. But not all of
Okay.
us got the opportunity to take our fathers with us, so we take young boys out into the wilderness, and we camp out. We teach them how to build a fire, teach them how to pitch a tent. We teach them how to cook some food on an open flame, and just hang out and conversate and fellowship and build bridges. It's kind of like a program where I want to start. I want It's a whole lot to it. I want to do a lot of things with
Right.
it. I want to create mentorships where we keep in touch with these boys and we help them throughout their lives. But all of that takes money, all of that takes time, all of that takes
Takes
energy.
time.
We
Right.
putting it in and we building that up.
Hey man,
I
that's
can be
what's up.
reached at Chef Amin Jr. on Instagram, Paradise.oasis on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I got a lot of things going on. You just gotta look out for me.
Tell the people where to find you on Facebook, bro.
On Facebook is Amin I Muhammad, AMINI Muhammad.
Okay. Is as far as your the Oasis program and everything, is it volunteer done? Can anybody come and volunteer to work with y'all, or is it how is it per se for anybody that wants to come participate with the
Um,
Oasis
so
Paradise?
I mean, it's not necessarily open to the public. I wouldn't put
Okay.
anybody in front of the children that I haven't thoroughly vetted, that I don't understand.
Thanks.
But
Right.
you know, um, on a case by case basis, I'm open. Right now I got 200 acres of land in San Diego, and I'm just trying to like allow the community to be able to use it to the best of their abilities. I wanna eventually throw parties down there where we have music that we understand and music that cultivates the soul and creates that environment. I want to do sound baths and retreats and all of that.
Okay. 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 I'm vibing with that, man. That's mad community. But
Yes, sir.
that's nation building for sure.
Exactly.
Anything else you would like to add, my brother?
I want
Spiritual
everybody to
advice?
have peace, love, and light. You know what I mean?
Amen. Amen. We most definitely thank you for coming on this show, bruh, and for dropping your knowledge and them gems. I learned a plethora of things that I didn't know, and we also understand that everybody is continuing to learn self. So we all can learn something new each and every motherfucking day. I'm gonna say it
Yes,
like
sir. No,
that.
absolutely.
We appreciate that, man. Honor to your family and your queen and the children and everything. Man, salute to you. We appreciate you, man. Come back on anytime. You already know where the link at. And bruh, thank you. Appreciate you, man. Honor. Wa alaikum salam to you, my brother. And you enjoy the rest of your
Yes, sir.
evening.
Walaikum salam. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Mad love to you too, bruh. Peace. We thank everybody for coming in. Mad salute. Mad salute to Nostalgic Radio. Y'all know what it is. It's the best goddamn radio station around this motherfucker. And y'all check out the other podcasts that we got on Nostalgic Radio at the Nostalgic Radio YouTube channel. Hit the live section and enjoy. Mad salute to my producer, King Jason. And we out this joint. Peace.